Ready for our standard disclaimer. This training is intended for internal use only. It does not reflect the quality of production that we would do on creating paid-for client training. However, it is more than adequate to get internal people up to speed on our standard best practices. Today's mini lesson is going to be about search engine optimization for WordPress categories. Quickly, categories are a way of categorizing your blog content. So all of your blog goes in posts. Your posts can range across a wide variety of topics, and the purpose of categories is to make them logically segmented. So maybe you have all vegetarian recipes in one category called vegetarians, and all veal recipes in another category called veal. That sort of thing. Maybe all of your services live as separate categories, but again, it's all focused towards posts, which are blogs. Categories and tags should not be confused. I'm going to discuss tags at another time. Categories do show up in the URL. One of the major problems with categories is a post might fit a couple of categories, and because it can be indexed a couple of different ways, it appears as duplicate content to Google. And so we really want to avoid the duplicate content ding. So let's take an existing website, and we're going to go here to posts. We're going to go to categories, and there's a whole batch of categories to work with. We're going to pick the category for menu printing, because this happens to be a printer, Print Etc., and they're really strong in printing menus. So let's go get them. Dun, 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 dun. Menu, printer, edit. First thing we want to do is to view the category. When you view the category, we're going to copy the URL. Okay, then we'll go back to edit the category again. And the copy of the URL, if you are using Smart Crawl, would go here under Canonical. If you're not using Smart Crawl but you're using Yoast, you'll come up to the settings and under Canonical, you'll put the URL. The reason you do that is that Menu Printer might have 30 different blog posts attached to it, and 4 or 5 show up on each page. So you end up with brandprintmarket.com/category/menuprinter/page1, brandprintmarket.com/category/menuprinter/page2. And all of the meta content, all of the descriptions and the titles and that sort of thing is the same on page 1 and page 2 and page 3 and page 4, and it shows up as duplicate content, which is compounded when you have one article that lives in multiple categories. The canonical URL says this is the one to pay attention to. Even though it might show up on other pages, it will automatically inherit the canonical URL. So page 1, page 2, page 3 will automatically get this canonical URL, and it tells Google, hey, don't hit me up for duplicate content. While we're in there, I like to look and make this no follow, but index. Index means take a look at the content and use it, Google, when you evaluate this for a search perspective. However, don't index it so that I don't get something that is Menu Printer and the same article that falls under 4-color printing. The article itself, the post itself, will have its own unique URL. I don't need to have multiple URLs for this content simply because it shows up on a category page. Blah, 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 blah. Let's make this simple. Making it simple, that means that if you're using Smart Crawl, you would say no index. If you're using Yoast, again, you'll go to the settings and you will say make this no index. We do want follow. We're not going to mess with that because obviously your blog content, we want followed so that it becomes relevant content, but we don't want it indexed to hit us with a duplicate content ding. Next, up at the top, we've got name, menu, printer. That's the name of the category. The slug is how it appears in the URL. The parent, in this case, is none. It doesn't make much difference. And I got a spot here for description. Now, this description doesn't usually show up many places, quite frankly, anywhere. There is a settings that says use description instead of a snippet or whatever. However, I like to future-proof my site, and you never know when we will end up needing it. So we're going to do print, etc. is your menu printer. Okay, and obviously all the SEO rules apply, and that's we would like this as a heading. This will be your heading 1, this will be your heading 2, and then we'll say decades of experience providing printing and marketing advice for the region's top restaurants. Make print, etc. your preferred go-to source for a menu printer. Print, etc. will even warehouse your mainstream printing so that refills are only a call away. Brand, print, and market your restaurant featuring menu printing by print, etc. And obviously we're not going to deal with bad grammar, we're not going to deal with spelling mistakes, that sort of thing. That's not part of the lesson. I'd like something a little bit larger than that, but that's okay. For this description, we're going to say, I like Yoast best for this, so under Yoast we're going to go to this stoplight. And our focus keyword is going to be menu printer. I like that. Okay, meaning that's what we're expecting someone to search for. Then we're going to go to this description, which is what shows up in Google search, better known as the SEO description and the SEO title. We're going to hit edit snippet, and the SEO title should be not menu printer archives. Nobody's going to print on that. So we're going to say menu printer articles for exceptional menus by print, etc. Now, did you notice this bar here turn green? That means that you are not too short and you are not too long, and you want to try to keep printing until that turns green so that you're taking advantage of the space available. And obviously I'm just going to clean up here with, capitalization and that sort of thing. But there we go. Now, I usually just grab something here. We're going to grab a bit of the content. This is category stuff. It's not major. And we're going to put it in here as our meta description. And we'll see, boom, that's too long. So, providing printing for and marketing advice. We can wipe that out. Does that? Yeah, there we go, green. Okay, so now we have a meta description. Now when this shows up in Google, this is what it will say. Do you ever notice that this gets truncated with ... and the whole message isn't there? And this, you want to be able to control what gets said there. Now, at the same time, what happens when it's shared to any of your social media? If you are using Yoast and it's set up correctly, then you want to go to this social widget and make sure that you've got a Facebook title and a Twitter title so that you're controlling what gets said. And what do you want said in the descriptive part when it gets shared to Twitter or to Facebook? I usually just put the meta description in there. If you have extra time and you're so inclined, certainly write something unique for each audience. But again, categories are not the major drivers, so we'll try to make that kind of light. Now we're going to go grab an image for Facebook, and I'm just going to grab something that I already have. There we go. That's a nice little image. and we'll make sure that menu printer is on here. Menu printer, menu printer. Okay, so we have good alt text going, just like you would in any other SEO venture. So now we have both an image and a title and a description. Hang on, we're going to copy this one, and we'll put it there for Twitter. Okay, and so now our social sharing is all taken care of for whatever was set up. It could include Pinterest, it could include LinkedIn, but for this particular example, we're focusing on Pinterest and Twitter. We'll come back here. Now, if you're using Smart Crawl, we'll come back and we'll come here and we'll say, let's get the SEO title. And again, you wouldn't usually use both. It causes some confusion. And we will grab the description and we'll put it here. Now, the reason I prefer Yoast is that Yoast gives me an indication if I am too long or too short, whereas Smart Crawl does not. So that says no follow, it shouldn't. So what we want is no index, but not no follow. What we want is a canonical URL. Okay, so that when we have multiple pages, it doesn't create a problem. We want to make sure that we have a keyword that we're looking for under focus keyword for Yoast, and that about does it. So we want name, slug, whether or not this is a parent-child relationship. We want a description, which generally speaking doesn't show up anywhere, but let's put it in case in the future it becomes valuable and I don't have to go back and redo all of our client sites. If you're using Smart Crawl, then we want SEO title, SEO description, canonical URL, and no index. We do want to follow. If instead you're using Yoast, then what we want is SEO title, slug, meta description, focus keyword. Then we want to share. And under social, if you're in a hurry and we're doing categories then for blog posting, then we'll have Facebook and Twitter have the same title and description, and then we'll give it an image. Don't forget to hit settings and tell it no index and canonical URL. Update it. And you're finished. Thanks a lot for watching. Get it right the first time.